welcome to the Steady Wish. Today is Veterans Day, the 11th of November. That's what I wanted to talk about today. So, what is Veterans Day? Veterans Day was originally Armistice Day, the end of World War I, 1918. And it was renamed Veterans Day in 1954. And the purpose of Veterans Day is to honor all veterans, whereas Memorial Day is to honor the veterans that have passed, obviously. Or died while in military service. So, how do we honor this day? This Veterans Day, originally Armistice Day, that marked the end of World War I, which was labeled as the war to end all wars. Should we see how that turned out? We start by acknowledging that we need to end the wars. That's the best way, in my opinion, to end the suffering that veterans go through. I'm not opposed to. I'm not anti-veterans. I love veterans. I know quite a few, and I appreciate everything that they have done. But I think they would agree with me in that the best thing that we can do is to stop sending people over to foreign countries to fight for corporations. I know that's not why, that might not be why they signed up, enlisted, and went over there to fight. That's, their motivation wasn't that. But the reality is they are being used by our out-of-control military industrial complex, an out-of-control government. So, Veterans Day, let's start by looking at, let's see if I can go over here. All right, I got deaths for all U.S. wars right here. And this was 2016 data. So the Iraq, Afghanistan, these are U.S. War deaths. So those are U.S. troops. 2017 or 2016. This came out in 2017 with data from 2016. So that number for the Iraq-Afghanistan war, that I think went up a couple hundred. So if we stopped these wars, do you see how many lives would be saved? How many veteran lives would be saved? But something interesting while I was looking at this, I wrote it down here. I did some math. Um, from the years of the American Revolution to the Spanish-American War. So you had the American Revolution, the War of 1812, Mexican War, Civil War, Spanish-American War. You had approximately 60 or 640,000 deaths. That's troops. That's not counting civilian deaths. But that's including the Civil War, which you had two factions in the U.S. so fighting each other, killing each other. So both their deaths go towards this number. That is a span of approximately 142 years, I think. 640,000 deaths, approximately. Then from there on, you have World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan. And you have 623,000 deaths, approximately. So about 17,000 less. And that was a span of about 105 years. So you have more deaths in less time. Not to mention that you didn't have any civil war. We weren't killing ourselves, whereas in the Civil War we were killing ourselves. So something has shifted, something has changed since World War I. And you even look at the number of years between wars in all of those, between when one war ended and one war started. And you get let's see, about 29. I'll read them off from like the American Revolution going through just the gaps in between the wars. So, and I hope I did my math correctly here, but if I'm close enough, that's good enough for the point I'm trying to make. 29, 32, 13, 33, 19, 23. Let's see, when was, hold on. Let me, is that right? Yeah. Okay, 29, 32, 13, 33, 19. That was up to World War I believe. And then you have 23, 15, 2, 15, 10. It seems that the gaps are shortening slightly. Now that could just be coincidence, I don't know, but point is more people are dying. And what have these wars been about? That's the other thing we gotta look at. So we obviously know the main, the big ones that everybody knows. The American Revolution, we know what that was about. The Civil War, we know that was a civil war. That's we know why we fought that. I'm gonna skip the other ones because I'm gonna stick with the ones that people know. And most World War I, we know that was, dare I say, stupid reasons to fight that. Like, that was a stupid war. Not that any war is good in my mind, but yeah, the reasons behind that were kind of silly. World War II, so obviously there was that that crazy German guy that committed atrocities and killed a lot of people. That's not initially why we got involved, though. I mean, we didn't know to what extent he was a mass murderer. Um, but it's hard to argue against fighting him. Korea, Vietnam, those didn't really pan out too well for us. Same with Afghanistan now. I mean, we saw the withdrawal. But anyways, that's deaths. We gotta stop. We gotta stop fighting these wars. Especially like the wars that we fight now. And maybe there was more of this back in your grandfather's wars and your great grandfathers and stuff. But now the wars that we fight are for corporate interests, and I mean everybody's well aware of that now with all the wars in the Middle East and everything coming to light, and the proxy war that we're fighting with Russia and Ukraine right now. So now, let's look at the effects. Let's jump over to here. One of the effects is, before I get into that, let's go, because these kind of tie in together. So, PTSD. Not only are veterans dying, but they're getting wounded. And they're coming back, whether they're physically wounded or emotionally, mentally wounded. It can be, I would say, just as bad. But anyways, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Obviously, that's, I mean, you don't look at that, a veteran having PTSD and be like, you don't look at it and ask why, if you know anything, about what they have to do, what they have to go through, and then how they're treated, how they're repaid for that when they come back and they have to deal with the VA and not be able to treat their PTSD or their ailments using let's say plants, because instead they get drugs, and that leads to more problems. But anyways, if we look at this, Iraqi freedom, so it'll between 11 and 20%, Gulf War 12%, Vietnam 15%, or 30% in their lifetime. That's a percentage of veterans that have PTSD in a given year. So from those wars. I mean, not surprising, but still not something that we should just not address. Best way to address it is stop sending them to do the dirty work for corporations. Now, the other thing that goes with that is suicide rates. And I found this article here that, let's see if I can go up to the title. Veteran suicide rate may be double federal estimates, study suggests. This was, I don't know if this was this year. All right, so it reviewed census death data from 2014 to 2018 for 8 states. Okay, so I'll read that whole thing. Officials from America's Warrior Partnership in a joint study with the University of Alabama and Duke University reviewed census death data from 2014 to 2018 for 8 states and found thousands of cases of suspected or confirmed suicides not included in federal calculations. If those figures were reported across the other states, it would push the veteran suicide rate from about 17 individuals a day, which is, to think about that, is ridiculous, to 44 veterans a day. So the 17 individuals is the official estimate released by the Department of Veteran Affairs last year. Not sure when this was. When this was written. It's September 17, so it was it. Anyways. And the reason, I didn't read this, but initially, the rate of suicide among veterans may be more than double what federal officials report annually because of undercounting related to drug overdose deaths and service record errors, according to a new analysis released on Saturday. Wow, I'm stumbling over my words. Yeah. The point is, we should not be sending the people, the brave men and women that signed up to defend our country. We should not be sending them overseas for reasons that generally come out later, but because they always give us a BS reason. They prey on your fears and your emotions, get you all riled up, like after September 11th, and then what you're really going over there, what they're really trying to do over there, I guess, is far from what their stated goal is, usually. So we shouldn't be sending them over there, subjecting them to the horrors of war. I mean, I can't even imagine, but nobody that, everybody that wants war probably hasn't experienced it. It's, so, what do we do on Veterans Day? Support our veterans. Thank them for their sacrifice. But then moving forward, we have to stop forcing them to sacrifice. I mean, there's a difference between defending us, and going and destroying blowing people up for what? I mean, look at Afghanistan. What did we accomplish there? That's the most recent one that we can think of. What did we accomplish? If we really cared, we wouldn't have thrown it all away like that. We wouldn't have, I should say not if we really cared, because I'm sure the veterans that fought over there, served over there, they care. They had friends. They made friends over there. They had friends that died over there. They had friends that got wounded over there. They got wounded over there. And so they care about, you know, what they were sold on as far as going over there and, spreading democracy and peace and liberty and but that's not what the powers, those in charge, are concerned with. So, in closing, veterans, we appreciate you. We don't want you to have to go through what you've gone through ever again, and we don't want the future generations of veterans to have to go through that. And that's what we should all be fighting for.